Yay, we're alive. Okay, welcome everybody. Hi, I'm Val Hart, the real Dr. Doolittle, animal communicator to the stars, best-selling author, and founder of the Animal Talk Coaching Club. This is part of a professional series of interviews with my colleagues, and we are wanting to bring you into our world. We want you to know what we know, see what we see, feel what we feel when we work with animals, when we hear their voices, when we engage with them, with their pain or their spirit or their messages, giving them a voice. Our job is to help you understand your animals, to connect with them at a deeper level, to help save the world by connecting with all the animals that are here to help us be better humans. We believe that animals are in our life for a reason. They are angels, teachers, guides, healers. When we learn to recognize, respect, and revere them for who they truly, truly are, then they help us be better humans. And together we can make the world a better place. So thank you for joining us today. I have some wonderful guests to talk to. You're going to love this so much. It's near and dear to my heart. We are talking to Candy Boroditskty and Ming Chee. Together they co-founded Reiki FurrBabies. They've written a book. They're working with people all over the world. They have an extraordinary story. And interestingly enough, they share a common background. They both have a medicine background. Ming Chee holds a PharmD from USC in pharmacy, and Candy Boroditskty is a retired physical therapist. And together they got I think we'll find out more, but a number of years ago they got together and they wanted to learn Reiki so they could help Ming's dog with hip dysplasia. And they had such an extraordinary result that they started working with other people's animals, and the rest is history. They are doing phenomenal work around the world. So they're continuing to practice. They're devoting their time and energy to helping people and animals all over the world. And they're also working with the planet and collaborating with other healers, working with wild animals, the creatures, and the sacred sites of the planet, which I think is so fascinating and so important. The soul-to-soul connection that they have with animals is real and profound, and I know that you know that. When you feel into your heart and you know the animals in your life are there for a reason, you know that your connection is profound. And that's why they do what they do, to raise the vibration of the planet by being one with the animals, for healing, for love, for shifting. You can find out more about their work at ReikiFurrBabies.com. So today we're talking about our soul-to-soul experience with animals and what they want to share with us about their purpose on this planet, their journey with us as our pets, and how wonderful they can react and respond to Reiki attunements. So let's talk to Candy and Ming. Welcome, guys. Thanks for coming to the show.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi. So glad to have you. We had a little bit of technical stuff getting started, but we survived. We persevered, and we're here. So welcome.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's jump in. Tell us about Animal Reiki for those who don't know about it. And I know you do all your healing sessions over a distance, so that's important too. But get us started. Tell us about Reiki.
Well, Reiki is an energy healing medicine, and it's we learned this several years ago, as you said, because of my dog with hip dysplasia. And it's a gentle, non-invasive energy. It goes where it needs to go. And when I practiced on my dog, I did hands-on healing every day. And then I noticed after a certain amount of time, she was able to run up the stairs.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes, and she was actually able to jump in the back of Candy's SUV as well. She was actually about 3 years old, and the hip dysplasia got so bad that my husband had to carry her up the stairs.
Wow,
so this was
that's awful.
Significant change.
Yeah.
So after she was healed, and Candy and I both learned the second degree, which is where we learn distance healing. And that we started practicing with, and the energy itself became even more powerful. And with the second degree is when you're able to do mental healing. So when it's like, so it's great for like a rescue animals or animals that have been in abuse or any type of situation like that. And we started growing from the distance healing, realizing that as all of our clients were not in California, they were actually past Texas and in Ohio and New York, and then it started growing into Finland and just all over the world.
All over the world.
All over the
Wow,
world.
that's great.
And we decided that it seemed like this was the best way to go for us. And that is why, even if you're my neighbor, we're still going to do distance healing because it's the most powerful. We don't come into your house. It's not like going to the vet. We just literally connect to your animal and send the healing. And at the same time, the animal's talking to Candy and having an actual conversation as well.
Wow, I love that. So do you actually partner up together, like in the same room, or you do it at the same time together? How does that work?
We always work together. Ming and I are, to our knowledge, are the only two Reiki masters that work together always on animals or clients. We are the only two people. When you sign up for a session, you get both of us. And we both bring something unique to the experience. I hear the animal, who's always has something to say during a session, and Ming also, her hands get hot. She can, feel where the animal's hurt or what the animal needs. And then afterwards, after the session, then we, talk to each other. We discuss what we both experienced, and then we send a concise report to the client. And then the client, with their feedback, it's quite amazing what the client witnesses themselves, what the animal's doing during the session, and they always mirror up to what we've experienced too.
Right.
That's wonderful. I love that. Well, and that brings sort of into your book, because tell us about your book. I think some of that is where this came from, where your book came from, right?
Right.
We were encouraged to write the book at our first seminar we went to. It was Colette Baron Reed that said, write a book about your first experiences of Reiki, because we had done only distant healing, and it was hard to explain to people what the experience was. So we mainly did testimonials from our first clients, and that's where the book came from. They're just testimonials from some of our first clients. Go ahead, I'm
right. So each chapter is a story about how it's a story about each of our clients and how the energy healing helped transform their animal, and how it helped the communication between the animal and the client, and how it strengthened the bond. And it talks about how powerful love is, that even during the sessions, the animal and the families are just filled with love. And it's a really amazing transformation for each animal. And there's,
the stories are fabulous,
yeah.
Actually, and to see the animals change and the families change, and how they could all of a sudden hear and witness what the animals were experiencing. To me, it was the first time I always thought I could hear animals because I could hear my dogs. I was so surprised, though, when other animals could communicate to me. That was my wake-up call. When other animals started talking to me and giving me their messages, that was my gift. And that's when we realized animals had something to say. They had messages for their owners. They had messages for us. They had messages for everything. They have souls. They cared. They stayed connected. They made connections with us. They had wonderful messages. It's been the most amazing part of my life has been working with all of these animals.
Wow, I love that. That is so cool. So what are some of the most amazing things that animals have taught you?
It's interesting because a lot of the things that they have taught us, I would never have known if an animal did not say it. And for example, we had sent some healing to a horse, and the horse told us that all the horses in the barn could feel the energy, and they were all talking about it. They realized that the energy was coming down and focusing on one particular horse, but the energy was so strong that all the horses in the barn would receive it.
Wow, that's great.
Healing, and then there would be, there'd be people that they go into the barn and they didn't know that we were healing one horse, and they said all of a sudden the whole barn became quiet. There could be 12 or 20 horses. Everyone became quiet at that time. For 30, 40 minutes, they all just like zenned out during this time.
I love
realize how powerful Reiki, this energy healing, is.
Right.
And how it spreads throughout just the horses, how it spread through healing. And we had then gone to a ranch, a rescue ranch in Colorado. And after we had worked with a couple horses distantly, then we went out to the ranch. And the owners of this rescue ranch, they rescued alpacas, goats, horses. I mean, this was an enormous place. The owners of this ranch decided to learn Reiki because they were so moved by the healing that they saw within the horses and the ones we had worked with distantly. They said this is an amazing transformation to these rescued animals, that they wanted to learn this practice and be able to do it on these rescued animals. They came so abused, so neglected, that this healing is amazing to me, what it does.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it is. It's really amazing. I love it, and I love that you brought out that animals, especially like horses in a community like a barn, that they do talk to each other. And I know that's true. They'll tell me stories about each other. They have shared jokes among themselves. There's all kinds of stuff going on from the horses' mouths. But it is remarkable, the transformation. And I'm also thinking it's not just for the animals, but the people. So when we learn how to do Reiki, when we learn how to work with this energy, it does something amazing for us. It does, don't you think?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. It teaches you how to heal from within, that you're not always looking out there, that we have the tools within us, that we have the resources to heal ourselves.
Right.
And that's what Reiki is. It teaches each of us that we all have the healing energy within us.
Right. And, animals have also taught us that they don't attach to their diseases like we people are. We get, all worried and anxious, but you know what? They're not attached to it. We've talked to even the ones that have been in abusive situations. They come out, they're in their forever home. They don't want to talk about it.
They're in this new thing. They're happy.
They really teach us to live in the present moment. They teach us that love is the highest vibration there is, and they don't look back. And they share with it. They just keep moving forward. And, each time, because we as people, we're curious, and how was it, or what happened to you? And many times they won't answer. They just want to say, I'm so grateful that I'm here. I
feel loved.
Yeah, I feel loved.
What's now is what's important. What's past is past.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All we have is now. And the animals taught us that.
Yeah, I know with a lot of the cases I've worked with, there is some importance to going there, mostly because of the person. Like you said, they're curious. A lot of times we animal lovers, we care so deeply, we feel deeply, especially abuse and grief and sadness and all those emotions. And so someone who takes on an abused animal, or someone an animal who's been rescued or something, they keep bringing that into the space. They keep talking about it. They keep, talking about the animal like, oh, this poor abused animal, and the animal is like, please let that go. Would you stop making me do that? I don't want to go there anymore. That was then. This is now. So let me be who I am now, and that would be wonderful. So it's a gift. But there's healing and growth and evolvement through the whole process.
I agree.
I get that. So, how can you attune animals to Reiki?
Well, it was interesting because it was actually during a session that we were doing with the dog, and it was even during the session we were healing him, it came to me that you can probably attune him to Reiki, and at that time I thought, okay, let's do it. And as we attuned him to Reiki, he told us he was able to tap into that healing energy within himself. So what we decided to do, kind of just to see how the animals felt, we attuned a cat, a fish, a horse, and a dog. These were all clients of ours. We asked for permission, and I took them through a week of class separately. Then at the end of the week, Candy interviewed all of them, and the results were amazing. It was like the cat told us she felt completely empowered. She said she could save the world.
Oh, yeah.
And the dogs said something similar to that effect. It was like they had all been empowered, and once that we started, blogging about it, and then it was like it took off, and then I had like 5 animals in a class sometimes during the week, and it was literally just teaching them the same thing that we would teach people, and when you self-love, self-practice, self-Reiki, and it was amazing because like the cat would tell Candy at the end of the week, I started with my paws, I started with my ears, it went all the way down to my tail, and I was like, wow, she was actually paying attention. So it was amazing.
It was wonderful, and the way they wanted to heal, the grass and the litter and the furniture,
yes.
and the way they would go through their house. You knew what their house looked like.
Yes.
By the time they got 10 talking to you about everything they were going to heal. And when people came in the house, they knew and their owners would tell us how they would get up next to someone that came in that was sad, how they'd lean into them.
Yes.
And they wanted to heal them and help them. And that's what animals do anyway. They're such soothers and givers, and they feel so good around you. But the ones that we had attuned, it was amazing when their owners told us their stories about how someone would come into the home or they'd have a party, and all of a sudden that was the person they had to be near.
Right.
I love that. I love that. That's so cool. Real quickly, explain what attunement actually is.
Go ahead.
Attunement is actually where it's a process where you actually take the person, or we'll use our animal, and it's like opening all their portals, and then you attune them as a Reiki master. We have the ability to do this. That we attune them, tapping. It opens up that portal within them, so they're allowed to tap into that energy. And once you're attuned to Reiki, you're attuned for life, forever. And all you need to do is practice. It's always there. It's like
Practice.
And there's and there's different levels. Okay, so there's Reiki 1, there's Reiki 2, and there's Reiki Master. We have animals that have actually requested to become masters themselves, which is actually another part of this journey has been very interesting. It was a cat named Coconut, and he said, I would like to be master. And I'm like, oh, of course you would, So he holds these little spiritual parties in his apartment when mom's at work, and
that's great.
He is quite the amazing cat. He's does a lot of healing. I think he and his mom, they watch sometimes on something on TV or something. They send the healing together to the whatever shelters or.
Wow, I love that.
What it does actually for all the animals that were attuned, or like you had mentioned, places or actual wild animals, what it does is it all lifts the vibration of the planet. We're all going through a shift, right? We all know that. We all realize the earth is shifting, we're shifting, and as we attune the animals, they only are here to help us raise that vibration for all of us together. And one thing Candy and I were mentioning the other day, we realized, because of this, we are all so connected, all of us. And I think the animals remind us of that each time. Like if we attune an entire species of, like Sunday, we're going to do the rodents, right? We're going to attune with Coriel Kramer, who's another animal communicator. With her, we attune like an entire species. And we'll get a collective message back from them. And
awesome! I love that. Yeah, I've worked with groups and species and the matriarch and the patriarch and the different things. So this is a very cool application of that. I love that.
Yes, yeah. So it's pretty awesome.
Very cool. Is there something you can teach our viewers, our audience today, that can help them get started?
Well, I always think that you can all, you can all hear your animals. Everyone says,
Right.
what do you hear? Why do you hear them? Well, I can walk in and listen to any animal and hear them, but so can you. They're talking to you all the time. And all you have to do is stop and listen, and they're talking to you. They really give you cues, and they're talking to you silently. Sometimes they actually do, mouth, and they start talking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that sometimes you go, I didn't really hear that. I didn't really say that. And you kind of dismiss it. But if you listen to your animal, they really tell you their messages. They tell you when they need you, they love you, what they want from you. And I think if you slow down, and it's almost like a meditative moment,
Mm-hmm.
and you can tune in and connect to each other.
Right.
So I think everyone that says, I really want to know what's going on there, ask them. And I think the other thing is animals hear you and they understand you. It's like before I go somewhere, I always tell my dog, I say, Jessie, I've got to go to the store, I'll be gone, and I'll be back. And I actually talk to her and tell her what's going on.
Right.
I think people don't, not all people, a lot of people do know that their animals hear them.
Right.
But tell them what you're doing. They hear everything, they know everything. They hear you on the phone. They see you packing the suitcase.
Yes.
They know that you're crying over something.
Right.
Talk to them, hold them. They're there, they're a member of your family. And I really think share the information, and you'll see a shift in your animal and your relationship with that animal.
Exactly.
I love that. Yeah, I teach my students all the time too. It's like, just bring it. They're part of your life. They share your home.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my home. They need to know. They have a need to know.
They already know anyway. They're like kids. They know. They know where you're hiding. They put you on the phone. We have clients. The dog will say, Mom's talking to a therapist, and she's trying to keep it a secret. It's like, she goes, why did Coco tell you that? Oh, I'm sorry. Why did my dog tell you that? She hears you on the phone. She's making the appointment.
Yes.
She knows
Exactly.
what you're doing. Better to tell her.
Yes.
Better to tell the animal what you're doing. And it just lets it all go, and then you have this wonderful sounding board, too.
Yeah. And just a little caveat, if you don't tell them, then
that's what happens if you don't.
Exactly. Then they have to make it up from what limited knowledge they have.
Right. Little bits and pieces.
Right. And from their viewpoint as to what would make sense to them as a dog or a cat or a bird or whatever, and what they can come up with is just, it's funny, it's amusing, it's sad sometimes, and it can get them in trouble. I remember a dog I worked with that had become very aggressive all of a sudden for no known reason. And when we talked to the dog, it turned out that the dog had been watching TV with his family, and there's all these stories about crime and break-ins and muggers and bad stuff, bad people, bad stuff. And he could feel how worried his people were, and so he decided, I'm going to take care of my people, and I'm going to run everybody else off. I don't care who you are. You could be a bad thing out there. So when we had to clear up that conversation, he was like, "Oh, thank God, I don't have to defend against the whole world." And it had gotten so bad.
That makes it's all logical.
Right.
When you talk to your animal and when you explain to them, it's like, okay, we're going to go for a walk. Let me have 20 minutes, Jessie. Brush my teeth. I'll be dressed, then we'll go.
Yeah.
And it's like, what a shift. And your animals will respond to you.
That's
right.
Here's Jessie now, the minute I said
Jessie. That's true. Well, I love that. I thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to leave us with today before we close this down?
Well, Ming wanted to tell you about a fish.
Yeah, I did want
Oh,
to.
fish! I love fish stories.
It was interesting because I was trying to think about what animal or what client to talk about, and if we had 2 hours, I could tell you all about dogs, cats.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. Okay, go ahead.
This fish named Blueberry is very interesting because he taught us that he made a connection with his owner in the pet store, like a dog would in a a shelter. And she told us how she met this fish eye to eye. Now Blueberry has taught us so much that when he transitioned, his message came to us that says, "Love doesn't evaporate when you leave," and this is Blueberry.
Wow.
A little fish, because everyone wonders how can you connect to a fish? It's in a little bowl. Every time we did this fish, some other amazing message from this little fish swimming in a bowl.
Yes.
Wow. I
Yeah.
love that. Thank you so much.
Animal is, there's a soul in there.
Right.
And you make soul-to-soul connections, everybody. There's souls.
Yes. Angels, guides, teachers, and healers. You don't know who is disguised as that pet or that animal.
Exactly.
Yeah. Respect, revere, and recognize them, my dears. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for the work that you do on behalf of the animals and the people who love them. I'm so grateful for you. So, thank you.
Thank you, Val, for having us.
Thank you.
So, if anyone wants to find out more about Candy and Ming, go to Animal. Okay, I've forgotten it.
Reiki FurrBabies.
ReikiFurrBabies.com.
Thank you. ReikiFurrBabies.com. Go check them out and connect and learn, grow, be who you're supposed to be. All right, so thank you for joining us today, everybody. We've had a wonderful time with Candy and Ming from Reiki FurrBabies. If you've been watching a wonderful episode, I hope, of the Real Dr. Dolittle Show with me, your host, Val Hart. If you've enjoyed the show, please don't keep us a secret. Tell your friends, tell your fellow animal lovers. Come join the fun and support us. So leave a comment, send us some love, send us some feedback. Try things with your animals and let us know how it works for you. Also, be sure and remember to pick up your Quick Start to Animal Talk course. It'll teach you more about how to send and receive messages with animals yourself. That's free and on my website at animaltalkcoachingclub.com. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Candy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ming. Love you both. Okay. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Till next time.